Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome to ASKability. This is a video series where I talk with other disabled people about how access, inclusion, and accommodations show up in their lives. I'm Nico Meyering. I use he, him pronouns. I'm a white man with blonde hair, brown and blue glasses, and a checkered shirt that's white, orange, and blue. I'm seated in front of a purple wall and a bookcase, an unpainted bookcase. I'm honored today to be joined by Christy. Christy, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Christy Batta Fisher. I use she, her pronouns. I am a white woman with shoulder length, straight brown hair. I'm wearing some dark black glasses. I'm also wearing navy and white striped shirt and sweater. And I'm in an office with white walls. You can see a bookcase and some hand lettered artwork. And yeah, a bit about me. I have multiple sclerosis. I was diagnosed in 2011. And yeah, that's that's why I'm here to talk to you. And then I also do graphic design. I have my own business doing graphic design, and I also enjoy hand lettering, and I use hand lettering to share about my experience living with MS.
That all sounds so fascinating. I don't think I've spoken to someone with their own business before, so this is going to be really cool. Let's dig in. Christy, what access features or tools do you use in daily life, and how do they help you?
Yeah, I had to think about this one because I was like, I don't know, I don't feel like I use any of the traditional ones,
Okay.
but I do use a lot of tools to like help save and manage my energy. The biggest thing I experience is fatigue. And so just wanting to be effective, I guess, with how I use my energy. So things like grocery delivery is a big one for me, like limiting the steps between me and being able to cook some food is helpful. And then I also really like to be able to order ahead, like when I get coffee and things. And some places adopted that during the pandemic that didn't have it before. So like our local coffee shop adopted it, and I just realized it's so helpful for me to be able to, like, again, limit the steps. I can just walk in and grab the coffee. And the other thing for me is I'm very like soft spoken in general, and then if I'm fatigued, like it's really terrible. The cashier, they can never hear me and all that kind of stuff. And so if I can just place my order online and not worry about any of that stuff, like that's a big deal. Also, for me, like heat sensitivity during the summer is a thing for a lot of people with MS. I get like dizzy and just, yeah, I get like brain fog and things from the sun. So I haven't found the best cooling tool, but I've tried a lot of them, like cooling, like cloths you can put on, and I have a neck fan. I found the best thing though is staying inside, unfortunately. And I will say the other one that I made a note of was just like public restrooms. Like I definitely, a lot of folks with MS have, I don't know what you want to call it, but bladder sensitivities or things like that. And I'm just much more comfortable when I know that there's somewhere I can go to the bathroom, and it's not a given that that will be available. So those are things that really help me out.
Thank you so much. I love how comprehensively you answered this question, and it also helped us remember that access needs look different for every disabled person because every disabled person is different. I'm reminded when you spoke about grocery delivery one of my late friends who, when I visited him, I saw that he had like pre-chopped vegetables and like pre-prepared ingredients. And that is also an access need because he had like very low fine motor skills. So I see you in
Yeah.
that. And thank you for helping me learn about MS. I didn't know about heat sensitivity and things like that. So
Yeah.
I value that chance to learn. Tell me, Christy, what access features or tools would make the biggest improvement in your life and how? If you could like look into a crystal ball and see ahead in your journey.
Ooh, I mean, one that would be so nice, but it's not realistic is,
Mhm.
um, COVID safety. Because the medication that I take for MS is I'm, immunocompromised.
Sure.
And so if I could feel a little, even a little safer going into public places, that would really make a big difference. It definitely have to evaluate the risks and benefits of going out, even just for simple things. And it's a shame. And definitely affects my quality of life. So now my bar is very low. Like even any kind of acknowledgement of COVID at like an event or in a space is like encouraging to me. But I think everyone thinks the pandemic's over. So I'm kind of I feel on my own in that regard. So that would be a big improvement. Another one that I've thought about is feeling comfortable or confident to use a disabled parking spot.
Okay.
I've gotten a pass before, like in the summer specifically, to avoid like being outside. And I never used it because I was always sort of afraid of someone assuming that I was not deserving of that parking pass because of not having like a non-apparent disability.
Sure.
And my understanding, I don't know this happens to everyone, but sometimes well-meaning people will like police those kind of spots, and they will write nasty notes if they think, you are abusing the spot. And so I just was like, you know what, I don't want to deal with that. So I think I will just not use this. And it would be nice if I felt like I could use the spot and not be policed for that. So that's another one.
That is valid, and I hear you in that fear. It's something that affects a lot of disabled people whose disabilities are not apparent at first. I don't know if we should delineate so clearly between visible versus invisible disabilities. I tend to think that a lot of disabilities that we consider invisible now would be visible if we, as a society, paid attention to disabled people, but we don't. So
Yeah.
there is that. And I'm sorry that you've had folks act meanly towards you or disregard your safety needs. I hear that you have to do a lot of cost benefit analysis, and that sounds exhausting. Like no one's brain is made to be working that hard all the time.
Yeah,
So
that's
for what
fair.
it's worth, you have my sympathy.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and I will say I didn't have those experiences, but I just had read about things online with where people had negative experiences.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. How are disabled people included or excluded in your community? And are there people or organizations that are advocating for better inclusion?
Yeah. So it's interesting, my community. So I live just outside of Washington, D.C.,
Mhm.
and it is kind of a nonprofit central. There are a lot of like nonprofit organizations. And the sense that I get is that this disabled people are acknowledged as maybe like the recipients of the, services of these
Okay.
organizations, but I see like there's a lag in the inclusion of disabled people as like, you know, part of the organizations or like working for the organizations and things like that. I mean, that's like a big generalization, but there's awareness of like, oh, how can we, improve the lives of dis disabled people through services, not
Right.
necessarily employment, I guess I would say. Um, but I've had some positive experiences. Like I have the most experience with like the MS community. So there's been some interesting like organic things that happen. I would say like
Mhm.
very sort of person to person interactions where I've been connected with other people who have MS through like healthcare providers and things like that. And um, they mostly like want to connect young people that have MS, which has been nice. So I've actually made some friends that way. Um, and the National MS Society, I think, is doing a good job of advocating for things that disabled people need. What's
Mhm.
interesting though is that I don't think they describe people with MS as disabled. And that's something that I've been sort of wrestling with lately is I only recently sort of come to realize that I am disabled. And um so that's kind of tricky, is like taking, an existing community that has the same goals as the disabled community, but, trying to see how it all connects, even if those people don't identify as disabled, is a little tricky. But I also joined the diversability community, which is how I got connected with you. And that's,
Yeah.
I think, been really positive. That was kind of a step I took to engage more with the disability community.
Excellent. I hear that you are new to a disabled identity, maybe a little less new to disabled communities, and that in your area, at least, or how you chose to define community, disabled people are the recipients of generosity, but we're not partners in governance. And
Mhm.
this is like a model that I see a lot when I was working in the nonprofit space. And then now as I do like advocacy stuff, there is a good saying, nothing about us without us, but it seems like a lot of organizations might have taken that to mean, we'll involve you in one focus group, or you can sit
Mhm.
on this one committee, but insofar as ongoing roles at all levels of our organization, we don't want to include disabled people in that way. So
Mhm.
that is the next step.
Yeah, yeah.
So far all along, I've really appreciated the comprehensive nature of your questions. So we spoke a little bit about this final planned question, but I want to dig a bit more into it and give you more of a chance to add any thoughts. Um, how would you yourself benefit from greater inclusion? A fully inclusive community, a fully inclusive space that you inhabit, what does that look like for you?
Mm. Well, I think I would not feel I would like to think I would not feel quite so exhausted all the time, kind of like
Okay.
you said, the mental energy that it takes to, you know, manage mm, my choices and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of, if it was just clear that, you get to have accommodations and you get to have what you need, that would just take out a lot of questioning and heartache, I think. um and yeah, I think I would feel more comfortable to ask for the things that I needed if I felt like everyone was getting what they needed.
Sure.
I think I do put myself in this category of like, I'm not that disabled, or I'm like less disabled, and there needs to be, you know, things available for other people that need it more than me and all. And yeah, I definitely feel that way and want to be respectful of people that have different needs than me. But if I felt like everyone was getting what they needed, then I would feel more comfortable to, you know, get the help that I needed.
Okay. So more widespread use of access features, and more widespread availability would be two main factors that would lead you to be more comfortable and would help you consider your life more inclusive. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Valid, valid. Christy, thank you so much for taking the time today and for talking about your journey. I've noticed you're using a lot of words like heartbreak and difficulty, and I see your struggles in coming to accept yourself and then advocating for yourself internally and externally as well. That's tough. And I wish for you the grace that you try to extend to others.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
As we draw our time together to a close, I want to give you a chance to promote yourself, any recent accomplishments. Where can people find you online? This is your soapbox, so take it away.
Sure. So I'm most active on Instagram. So my handle for my personal account is Hey Batta Batta, which is HeyBatta. That's my last name. And I also have another Instagram account for my hand lettering, and that's called Human Plus Kind Co. And plus is the word, PLUS. And that's where I, you know, share about my chronic illness, MS experience. And I also, this year, I became part of the Emerging Leaders program for the DC chapter of the MS Society. So that's been really cool. And it's like the first year they're doing that, so that's new. And we also have an Instagram account for that, which is Emerging Leaders DMV. So folks that are interested in the local, you know, MS community here could follow that.
Sure. I'm so glad that you're able to find community within the MS specific groups, even though their embracing or not of the word disability is not perfect.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Christy, thank you so much and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for doing this.
Of course.